9 miles southeast of Molokai is Maui. The second largest of the Hawaiian Islands, Maui encompasses more than 728 square miles. Dominating the island is the now dormant volcano Haleakala, meaning the house of the sun. The Hawaiians believe that the Polynesian god Maui dwelled here.
Maui was a trickster hero in Polynesia. When he came to these seas, he accomplished 3 remarkable feats. His first was to fish up the islands from the ocean floor. On another occasion, Maui was thirsty. He told the woman that if she would give him a drink from her gourd, he would push up the sky for her. She complied, and he thrust the sky upward, where it has remained to this day. But his greatest feat was accomplished from the rim of Haleakala. Maui noticed that because the sun moved so quickly across the sky, his mother was having trouble drying her strips of bark cloth. Men had too little time to harvest their crops, so Maui wove a strong cord of coconut fiber. He then snared the sun and made it promise to move more slowly across the sky so there would be more daylight hours on Earth.
At sunrise, as you stand on the rim of Haleakala crater, staring down into its dark abyss, it is not difficult to understand why the ancients believed that the gods dwelled here. Each morning, when the 7.5-mile-long crater fills with clouds, you feel you are experiencing the dawn of creation. As the morning progresses and sunlight dips into the crater, rivers of frozen lava and ancient cinder cones emerge from the purple shadows. After a visit to Haleakala, Mark Twain wrote that he felt like the last man, neglected of the judgment, left pinnacled in mid-heaven, a forgotten relic of a vanished world. On the heights of the volcano is a plant that grows nowhere else in the world except on Maui and on the Big Island, Hawaii. The silver sword is a member of the sunflower family. It blooms only once during its lifetime of between 4 and 25 years. Then, having produced the seeds of a new generation, the silver sword dies. Haleakala is also the home of the nene, the Hawaiian state bird. Because it lived for centuries without natural predators, it is fearless. Its daring attitude led the birds to the brink of extinction. But through conservation efforts, there are now more than 150 nene living on the volcano. Along the eastern skirts of Haleakala, a narrow road winds through green-cloaked cliffs and groves of tropical trees. A 3-hour drive leads to the small settlement of Hanatown. Clustered around a perfect bay, Hana has managed to retain much of its rural quality. Despite the town's growing popularity, life here still reflects the grace and warmth of the local people. A short distance south of Hana lies one of the most beautiful spots on Maui, the pools of Oahu. Those who explore this natural garden, sometimes referred to as the Seven Pools, discover there are actually more than 30 pristine pools that cascade to the sea. Each winter, as they have long before recorded time, the great humpback whales return to their calving grounds in the seas of Maui. After a journey of 2,800 miles from Alaska, they arrive in the crystalline waters off Maui's western coast, where they will remain. The 40-ton leviathans were once masters of the sea, but in time they would meet their match. The whaling ships of Lahaina. In the early to mid-19th century, this former capital of the Hawaiian Islands became an important anchorage for the Pacific whaling fleet. After their long voyages, crews swarmed ashore in pursuit of rum, women, and other earthly pleasures. When Protestant missionaries in Lahaina prevented women from swimming out to the whaling ships, the angry sailors rioted and fired cannonballs on the town. So the chiefs of Maui built a fort to protect Lahaina. Its ruins are still here today. Built at the turn of the century, the Pioneer Inn is a Lahaina landmark. The original house rules reflect its honky-tonk past. Only on Sunday can you sleep all day. The discovery of oil in Pennsylvania in 1859 signaled the end of the great whaling era. Whale oil yielded to petroleum. Lahaina had already given way to Honolulu as the kingdom's new capital. Just west of Lahaina are the verdant walls of the Iao Valley, a place of pilgrimage since ancient times. The soaring 2,250-foot Iao Needle was created by rainwater as it eroded the weaker stone away from the core of basalt. Beyond the Needle, on the windward side of the West Maui Mountains, lie inviting beaches, strung like pearls upon the shore. Ho'okipa Beach is a haven for surfing. Nobody knows for sure when the Polynesians first rode the seas on their wave-sliding boards, but it's an ancient sport, and Hawaiian chants suggest that it was practiced as early as the 15th century. The first surfboards, crafted from koa wood, weighed as much as 150 pounds, a formidable burden by today's standards, but not for the 300-pound surfing champions of ancient Hawaii. Windsurfing is a more recent development. The marriage of the sail and the surfboard. As fine as the surf is on Maui, it is unsurpassed on the island of Oahu. Places such as Banzai Pipeline and Waimea Bay live on in surfing legend. Oahu is said to mean the gathering place in the Hawaiian language. Although this translation is sometimes challenged, no more appropriate name could exist, especially for Hawaii's grandest city, Honolulu. Spreading its skirts over 25 miles of Oahu's leeward shore and inland to the Ko'olau mountain range, the city is a gracious host to visitors from around the world. In downtown Honolulu, Iolani Palace, completed in 1882, is the only official royal residence in America. It was the home of King Kalakaua and later of his sister Queen Liliuokalani, the last reigning monarch in a long dynasty. In 1893, a group of American and European businessmen, backed by American Marines, abolished the monarchy. Most of the palace furniture was sold at auction, and the building fell into disrepair for nearly a century. When it was opened to visitors in 1978, most of the palace had been restored to its original splendor. Every Friday at noon, the Royal Hawaiian Band performs in the old coronation stand on the palace grounds. The band was organized in 1836 and has performed regularly ever since. Monarchies may fade away, but the band plays on. Across the street from the palace is the Kauaiaha'o Church, an enduring symbol of Hawaii's missionary past. Mali'i Kalama, a lay minister of the church, is also an accomplished quilt maker. Quilting is a legacy left by the missionaries. With scraps of fabric, they taught Hawaiian women how to stitch quilts. The sewing sessions became social occasions. Soon, the skillful Hawaiians were creating their own unique designs.
Just happened that at twilight one evening, as the sun was setting, it threw a shadow of a coconut tree on the sand. And there was a woman in the group that saw it, and she felt, now that would make a very interesting coverlet. And so she began to cut out material that was given to her by the missionary women, and she cut out the first pattern. From then on, all of the women began to create in their own way different designs, taking nature into consideration. The leaves, the flowers, the fruit, and things of that sort. And that's how it became quite popular in the islands.
Recently, there has been a resurgence of interest in this beautiful art form, an art form inspired by the natural world of the islands. One of the most photographed natural wonders on Oahu is Diamond Head, the remnant of an extinct volcano. British sailors named this headland for the stones they found that resembled diamonds. Though the diamonds proved to be only calcite crystals, the name Diamond Head lives on today. At Waikiki, nature has conspired to create the playground of the Pacific. At the foot of Diamond Head lies a golden crescent of beach that was once a retreat for Hawaii's kings. But Waikiki is more than one of the world's most famous beaches. At night, Waikiki is an exuberant world of shops and galleries, neon and gardens and bistros. sophisticated carousel of pleasures, alive with music and people from all corners of the globe. Off the eastern shore of Oahu are the waters of Hanauma Bay. It was formed when the sea eroded the crater of an extinct volcano, creating a great tropical aquarium. Among the species in this gallery of living art are the millet seed, butterfly, raccoon butterfly, and the parrotfish. Most of the fish seem unafraid, even curious, as they approach these blue-clad visitors. North of Hanauma Bay can be found the masters of the winds that sweep the windward cliffs of Makapu'u Point. There are trade winds in Hawaii so powerful and consistent that flights of more than 25 miles have been recorded. One daring soul remained aloft for 34 hours. Honolulu is a city of many moods. Here at Pearl Harbor, the USS Arizona Memorial rises above the battleship in which more than 1,000 men lost their lives at the start of World War II. Above Honolulu, in a former volcanic crater, is the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific. Also known as Punch Bowl, it is the resting place for more than 34,000 servicemen and women who sacrificed their lives in America's wars. On Memorial Day, families come to honor their loved ones.
The Hawaiians call this crater Pu'owaina. It means Hill of Sacrifice. It was an appropriate name then, and it is certainly an appropriate name now. For this Hill of Sacrifice has become an altar where we may forever keep alive the deepest and most sacred hopes of mankind. It is a place where we come to renew our commitment to a just and good environment for all of mankind. Grave markers here in Pu'owaina. The names etched in the marble walls all give testimony to the precious price that has been paid by Americans for more than 200 years to secure the blessings we enjoy today in a land of freedom, a land of liberty, a land of equality.
The mountains of the Ko'olau Range divide Honolulu and windward Oahu. Here, along the cliffs of Nu'uanupali, there are stories of fallen warriors from an earlier time. Legends tell of night marches, spirits of a great army that once met defeat here. The victor was Hawaii's greatest king, Kamehameha I. In 1795, Kamehameha forced some 800 warriors of Oahu to the edge of the cliff, where they fell to their deaths on the rocks below. The memory of Kamehameha is still revered by the people of Hawaii nearly 200 years later. Today, legends about the great king are still told, old stories sung in a contemporary Hawaiian style.
Kamehameha was born in a small village on the big island of Hawaii. It was a stormy night, and there was a strange white star with a tail of white fire in the heavens to the west. Priests prophesied that the child would grow up to defeat the established order, so secret plans were made to have the infant killed. But like Moses, Kamehameha was hidden in a basket, covered with bark cloth, and his life was spared.
Like most legends, there is a great deal of truth in the song. For it is possible that Kamehameha was born in 1759 and that the white star in the legend could have been Halley's Comet, which was visible in Hawaii that year. Kamehameha was to unite the islands under one rule and reign over a long period of peace. Each year in June, Honolulu holds a festival to honor the great warrior king who brought unity and peace to the islands. Huge garlands of tea leaves, plumeria, orchids, and other flowers from all of the islands are draped over the king's statue. More than 20,000 flowers are woven into these memorial leis. King Kamehameha Day was first celebrated in 1872, and a parade has been held regularly since 1916. The festival is a powerful example of how the past remains alive in contemporary Hawaii. The monarchy is gone, but the people remember their royal heritage. Kamehameha Day is more than a parade. It is the story of a remarkable people who dwell at the center of the sea. A celebration of their art and song, legend and music. Here are the Hawaiians themselves and their marvelous diversity. The heroes who have lived the legends of these islands and the young who will live their future. Each of these islands is a separate stone in a beautiful mosaic. Together they form something larger and finer still. Hawaii, the realm of Pele. Maui, place of the House of the Sun. Oahu, the gathering place. Lanai, the Pineapple Isle. Molokai, the Friendly Isle. Kauai, the Garden Isle. When the first navigators left their homes in Polynesia, could they have imagined where their voyage would lead? That the stars they followed across the trackless tides would take them to Hawaii, to America's state of paradise.
And with that goes a horny or two. That's the Hawaiian. It whoops me. It's great to be in Hawaii and to be a native too. But it's greater still to play around and carry on as I do. So right out here in Hawaii, where everything is heavenly, I'm just as happy as can be. That's the Hawaiian. It whoops me. It's great to be in Hawaii, to be a native too. But it's greater still to play around and carry on as I do. So right out here in Hawaii, where everything is heavenly, I'm as happy as can be. That's the Hawaiian in whoops me. That's the Hawaiian in me. That's